When you were younger? Have you ever had the measles? Have you ever had smallpox? I bet you don't even know what that is, but I bet your grandparents were vaccinated against it. Smallpox is a very contagious disease that many people died from. According to the World Health Organization, because of vaccinations, smallpox has been eradicated from the face of the earth since 1980. However, smallpox isn't completely gone. This is because two large government laboratories, one in the US and one in Russia, insist on maintaining the virus. Have you had your flu shot? Because you don't want to get sick, you will have to make decisions about whether or not to vaccinate yourself and maybe your children someday. I am credible to talk to you about this because I have done my research and I have had to decide for myself and for my daughter that we are to be vaccinated. I believe everyone should be vaccinated against every communicable disease. Today, I'll be talking about vaccines and their link or lack of to autism, herd or community immunity, and whether or not a vaccine can infect children with the disease it is trying to prevent. If you are wondering what the differences are between vaccinations and immunization, a vaccination is the act of getting a vaccine, usually a shot, and an immunization is the process of becoming immune to or protected against a disease. I'm going to present to you an idea people have about vaccinations and explain to you why it is incorrect. Some people believe that vaccinating their children will give them autism. According to publichealth.org, the fear that vaccines increase the risk of autism originated in a 1997 study published by Andrew Wakefield. The article was published in The Lancet, a very prestigious medical journal, suggesting that the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, also known as MMR, was increasing autism in British children. The paper has since been completely discredited due to procedural errors and ethical violations. Wakefield also lost his medical license, and the paper was withdrawn from The Lancet. Yet, people to this day still cite this research to justify not getting their children vaccinated. Some vaccinations contain mercury, formaldehyde, or aluminum, that this is what causes autism. This is also a myth. According to publichealth.org, although they use these chemicals as preservatives, only trace amounts of them are used in FDA-approved vaccines. There is no evidence that such low levels of formaldehyde, mercury, or aluminum are harmful to the human body. It is still best to vaccinate. There are other ways people who are vaccinated can help a community. Some people think that not immunizing only affects themselves. This is not true. According to PRI.org, having just one person be vaccinated does make a difference. In fact, the more people that can be vaccinated, the more likely that communities can have less disease. This is called herd or community immunity. According to the Minnesota Department of Health, in 2017, there was an outbreak of measles in a Somali community in Minneapolis. This was fueled by an inaccurate fear of their children getting autism. If they would have been properly informed, they would have had the correct information to vaccinate their children. Another way herd immunity helps is the fact that there are people who can't be vaccinated, such as people who are immunosuppressed, such as people with cancer, myasthenia gravis, HIV or AIDS, or other health conditions. If enough people get vaccinated against a certain disease, the germs can't travel as easily. Therefore, the community is less likely to get the disease. Even though these people can't be vaccinated, we can protect them by having people around them be vaccinated. This is why herd or community immunity is important. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be vaccinated, it means you should. The last reason I'll talk about today is that some people still believe that the vaccine itself can infect children with the disease it is trying to prevent. The human body protects against disease and how vaccinations dramatically help in immunizing. Immunity is the body's way of preventing disease. The immune system recognizes the germs that enter the body as foreign invaders called antigens and produces things called antibodies to fight them. The first time a child is infected with a specific antigen, the immune system produces antibodies to fight it. This takes time, and the immune system can't work fast enough to prevent the antigen from causing the disease. However, immune system remembers that antigen, and if it enters the body again, the body can produce the antibodies fast enough to keep it from causing the disease. There is a way to give children immunity to a disease without them having to get sick first. This way is a vaccine. Yes, vaccines do contain the same antigens that cause the disease. For example, the polio vaccine contains the polio virus, but the antigens in it are either killed or weakened to the point that they do not cause the disease. The vaccines are, however, strong enough to make the immune system produce antibodies that lead to immunity. So, in other words, the children gets protection without having to get sick, and it is all the more reason to get vaccinated. Today, I talked to you about the reasons why vaccinations are important and why you should get them. I debunked the myth about vaccines causing autism. I talked about herd or community immunity, and I also talked about why vaccines do not infect children with the disease it is trying to prevent. First, I talked about the fallacy that vaccines cause autism. We know that's not true because the original study was a lie. Next, I talked about how people believe that not immunizing only affects themselves. I proved this is untrue because the more people that are immunized, the more people that are protected. The third issue I talked about was that people believe that the vaccine alone will infect a child with the disease it is trying to prevent. The virus in vaccines is killed or weakened to the point where it does not cause the disease. So, should you get a flu shot? Should you vaccinate? The answer is yes, you should. Thank you.